Broadcasting to the places that we're supposed to be broadcasting to. I believe we are live now in all of the places. Let me tell you about the places where you can find the New American Media. If you're not linked up with us, please do so in the following locations. Oh, good. We are live on Facebook now. That's great. Even though Facebook doesn't show our show to our followers, to our fans, to our supporters. They hate us. Meta hates us. Meta hates you. So prepare accordingly. You need to be on different platforms. All right, join our live show. We are asking people to do that. Let's put it up on the screen here. The New American Media can be found on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube at the New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, on X at American_Media_, and our podcast is the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. Link up with us in those locations, please. It does appear we are streaming live on Rumble now, which is good. Rumble is the new YouTube. Although we do have like 1,900 videos on YouTube. If you haven't checked that out, hit subscribe. It's quite the archive over there. All right. So all those are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And finally, if anybody wants to participate in supporting independent journalism, we're on Patreon at the New American Media. And then our tip jars, Venmo at Cash App at BrianEngelman, and then PayPal at Fuzz Installment, all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Special thanks to everybody out there who has supported us over these years. AMR 39157 is back. What's up? Where are you from? Not Myanmar. Is it Myanmar? Myanmar? Am I remembering that correctly? We were talking about the plane crash yesterday, trying to unpack it. And then, man, it's so interesting how... Oh, doggone it. Not Myanmar. It's Macedonia. My bad. Hello, David. Here, let me just go ahead and put the comments section up. And I'm going to encourage you to say hello. However you're watching, I'm looking at the numbers coming in. Thank you to everybody. A lot of people on X, and we are just beginning today's program. Jump in like AMR 39157 has. We got a new viewer in Macedonia. Hey, AMR, what is the best thing about Macedonia that people don't know about? What should people know about Macedonia that they don't? And what's your favorite thing about Macedonia? Hello to David Ban from Ontario, Canada. See, look, we're an American show, but we got Macedonians in here. We have Canadians in here. That's just the type of show we are. Yes, we're the New American Media, but we're also the new global media. You know, nobody's paying us to read a script. That goes for something. There's a value in that, I promise you. So we have a lot of news to unpack. I'm going to jump right into it by starting at our Instagram feed. Let me hit refresh. It should be showing up. Oh, yeah. Stories galore. Let's get to them. Okay, so Newsmax reporting that Harvey Weinstein has been convicted of sex crime in New York, in the New York retrial. Manhattan jury found Harvey Weinstein guilty on sex crime charges on Wednesday in a retrial after a state appeals court overturned the former movie mogul's 2020 conviction. Yes, another one of the Democrats' heroes, says this post here. Oh, geez. The Obamas must be proud for having their eldest daughter intern for Harvey Weinstein. That's right. Stephen asking, will Oprah and many others be next? Oprah knew it, says Andy. I don't know. Friend of Oprah, Hillary, the Obamas, etc. All right. So there's your update there. Nobody wants to talk about Harvey Weinstein today. We want to talk about the war. And we're going to talk about the war. That is the plan. But I'm going to tear through the other stories so that we get caught up. There's a lot to talk about. Seattle federal building rioters make several direct large fireworks strikes on police skirmish line. There's eye on the ground. Yeah, we're a couple weeks away from Independence Day. We're going to have a lot of people. fireworks. You're going to see this repeated. In Los Angeles, they attacked the cops with fireworks on multiple occasions. During Independence Day celebrations, which kept on the streets and launched off professional-grade, unsupervised firework displays in the middle of a drought that could have set all these buildings on fire with one little spark. So that's happening. This poster says this stuff isn't organic, it's organized. Cam is saying this is already being reported as a peaceful or non-violent protest. Disgusting. Nate says, look at all these unemployed people who could be out there working and doing something. Instead, they're throwing a temper tantrum in the streets. That's the current state of affairs. All right. Okay, good. Now you can read this perfectly. Yes, everybody, please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, however you are watching. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says, according to funding thread from Data Republican, the No Kings protest that's coming tomorrow, by the way, how do you plan on celebrating? But you know what? I do have a question. I'm going to ask Grok, show me where Macedonia is on a map. I can't display a map. On the Balkan Peninsula, Serbia, Kosovo, Albania, Greece, and Bulgaria. Okay. I was wondering how our Macedonian and Canadian friends are going to be celebrating No King's Day. You know, when the global communists get together to throw their little party, their little hissy fit against President Trump, against the United States Army. And by the way, if you were against the big, beautiful bill because they're spending too much, might be a good time to reconsider why you'd want to bolster our military at an age where World War III it just feels imminent. It feels unstoppable. Not because I'm advocating for it, not because I want it to happen. It's because it feels like there's nothing we can do to stop it. So we might as well be ready. So anyway, Representative Luna says, the No Kings protest, according to Data Republican, is also being funded by the Chinese Progressive Association. Oh, joy. They're a self-proclaimed pro-Maoist organization. Could you imagine being a pro-Mao person? Papa Uma Mao Mao, Papa Uma Mao Mao. Nationwide protests using Hispanics and immigration as a ruse is being tied to communist China. This is not by accident. So here's the funding. I don't know. It's tough to zoom in. Oh, Representative Anna Paulina Luna is a former Maxim model and a wife and a mom and a congressman. Okay. So yeah, Data Republican is a national treasure, but go check that out. It's a little too small for me to read here, so I'm sure you're going to have a hard time reading it on your screen. Doesn't it feel imminent, Lucas? Hello, Lucas, brother. My brother in arms, Lucas and I, we fought the law and the law lost. Now we had a rogue city, I don't know what you call him, a city commissioner, a city manager, what was his official title? Anyway, a neighbor to the place that Lucas and I hold near and dear tried to force eminent domain into a place that Lucas and I hold near and dear. And we resisted. It took us 2 years, but we pushed back the oppressors, stood our ground, and we won. So Lucas is a fighting soul. Thanks for joining us today. But it does feel imminent, doesn't it? No matter how much President Trump is out there saying, we gotta have peace. Stop fighting all the time, you freaking idiots. Just stop it. No more. We're done. We're not funding it. We don't want the war. Sign a big, beautiful deal. We'll make a bunch of money. So I don't know. Is this ramp up, this escalation of warfare everywhere as a direct reflex against Orange Man Bad? Now, I know Orange Man Bad because, as Lucas knows, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, as shown on my shirt here. Orange is the color of our team, and our team has been bad. But no, it's the phrase cut off your nose to spite your face. Oh, that orange man, he's so bad. I will just take the exact opposite opinion of Donald Trump just because I'm part of the resistance. And you're like, you know what the 80-20 issues are? You poll 100 people, 80 are like, yeah, that's a common sense thing. I'm on board. The Democrats are like, we have a 19% approval rating. We hate Trump. What do we do? Let's oppose everything he does, especially the common sense stuff. That is what it feels like. And it does feel imminent, imminent, imminent. Imminent and eminent domain. Wouldn't be surprised, David says, if some craziness happens in downtown Toronto. Yeah, because these are global communists. This is the New World Order. It's the globalists, the powers that be, the puppet masters. You can describe them, whoever they are, by 100 different names, but you could just call them the enemy. They're everywhere. They've put their tentacles into Toronto, the United States, Europe. Just throw a dart at a map and their influence is everywhere. So either we team up with Team Human or we let the bad guys run us into the ditch. I prefer saving what we have and making it better as opposed to following the No Kings protest because Chinese Progressive Association are pushing pro-Mao propaganda. So no thanks. Now, this one was pretty good. I thought this was great. This was a whole thread from this person named Traditionally Sarah trying to sum up the immigration story. It's like 6 or 7 panels. I'm only going to read the first one because this was the best one, and I think it just gets the point across. She says here, at Tradwife Mom. So, am I following this person? How do I follow that? Or maybe it's just, maybe I don't know how. She says, so I went to Costco without a membership. I snuck around the card readers. I didn't want to wait in line to get an actual membership or a one-day pass. They caught me in the store and asked me to leave or to go to the service desk and get a membership. Instead of leaving, I demanded free products and food. And I waved a Sam's Club flag right in the middle of the store to show them just how much I love Costco and want to stay. When they still asked me to leave, I began stealing whatever I could, and then I threw frozen hamburger patties at security. They should have just let me shop there without a membership. I'm special. Maybe I should read the other ones. I just don't understand because although I'm a valid Sam's Club member, I was told I could come to Costco for the opportunity to try their amazing hot dogs for only $1.50. And when I got here, some people were handing them out for free. Now suddenly no more free hot dogs and I'm asked to return to Sam's? I need to continue to receive free hot dogs even if it means other valid Costco members will have to contribute a 20-cent fee at the door, but I deserve this. I've managed to convince some valid Costco members that I'm definitely special and deserving of free Costco membership, of course, to be paid by other valid members. Costco rules don't apply to me because really my heart is with Sam's Club. I'm just here for the samples they hand out and a discount on some decent toilet paper. Costco should get rid of all memberships, actually, even though every other big box store has them. Sam's can keep their walls and membership cards, but Costco should transition to an outdoor flea market type of venue. It's not fair that just members be entitled to $5 rotisserie chickens. Since they're bringing people in from business offices to escort us non-members out to the parking lot, can you believe it? Why would they feel the need? It must be Costco's CEO. I know some of my Sam's Club people have really damaged Costco and even hurt other customers, but this is wrong. The audacity. Some Costco members are saying this is what they voted for when they brought back their old CEO. I can't believe they'd kick all of us Sam's Club members out. Sure, their prices have skyrocketed, and we expected at least a vanilla ice cream cup for free every day. That's it. I'm putting Sam's banners all over the Costco signs. That will convince you Costco freaks won't it? That'll convince you, won't it? Guys, calm down. I'll only burn down 1 or 2 Costcos peacefully, of course. Then they'll know that I, a Sam's Club member, truly have a place here at Costco's. Costco. Some cashiers may get hurt, but it's a price I'm willing to pay. Not actually pay. I like things for free. Could you imagine invading another country and acting the way that we've seen in the Los Angeles riots? New York, throw a dart at any major blue city in a blue state? Yeah, that ought to teach them. So anyway, that's a little snarky, but I thought it kind of got the point across. It was pretty interesting. So ICE raids are underway in Los Angeles right now, despite the whining from Democrats and Gavin Newsom. ICE has pledged. ICE has pledged to double down on the deportation after the violent riots that broke out earlier this week. You know, you either have a border and you defend your country, or you don't, and you don't. Walk towards the side of my voice, Dicker. Walk towards the side of my voice. You don't lace your fingers on top of your head. You don't lace your fingers. Walk back. Walk backwards. Walk backwards. Immigration raids are allegedly behind the outrage. Allegedly. Yeah, the Door Brothers are making some crazy stuff. Did you see this one? I might have to mute it because of the music. Yeah, I'll have to mute it. Elon and Trump, and then Gavin's burning the city down. Kamala's flicking off and burning the city. Is that Elon? Kamala hates everybody. Gavin's. It's better with music. Didn't know that I'll be doing. But I can't play music on YouTube for some reason. But this AI has gotten bizarre. AOC, Trump walking down a military parade and all these Mexican flags. Is that Kanye? No. Did Kanye make an appearance? Oh, geez, no. Oh, this isn't going to be good. Montage with a. I do like the songs, though, that the Door Brothers use. Whole computer catch a glitch. Greta Thunberg. Get a Thunberg. Anyway, the AI is getting out of control. Watch this. It's on our Instagram page. Bezos and Zuckerberg. Here's a reptilian. Obama in body armor. I mean, this video is wild. I mean, we are very close to having no idea what's going on when we watch videos. Mr. T, Mr. Trump. Wild and dope. It is cool. I like the songs that they pick. And these videos, man, I need to start playing around making videos like this. I don't know what programs they use. The Door Brothers. It just says AI, but I don't know what kind of AI they're using. All right, Mike Benz is going to break down the riots. It says the CIA's riot guide from 1983 calls for agitators to create a martyr for the cause, like a George Floyd, by leading the demonstrators into a confrontation with authorities. Not exactly Floyd, but remember, Floyd was peacefully arrested, put in the back of a cop car, and he escaped out the other door, and he's the one that was. We were this close to never knowing that gentleman's name. Gentlemen. So creating a martyr for the cause, the CIA riot guide, leading demonstrators into a confrontation with authorities to provoke riots or shootings, which may cause the death of a protester, and then use that death for bigger riots. Does that sound a little familiar to anybody else? What is this? Specific jobs will be assigned to other elements in order to create a martyr for the cause, leading demonstrators into a confrontation with authorities to provoke riots of shootings to cause the death of one or more persons who would become martyrs, situation which would be taken advantage of immediately against the regime so as to create greater conflicts, the way of carrying out an uprising in mass meetings. It may be affected by means of a small group of guerrillas infiltrated among the masses who will have a mission of agitating. That is exactly what we have across the country. A mission for agitation, an agitation mission. Is it Soros? Is it Black Bloc? Is it Antifa? Is it BLM? Is it Palestine? Is it, I mean, I said this to my buddy, you know, whatever the forces are. Whoever's pulling the puppet strings and financing this. They're just cosplaying. Yeah, they'll be anonymous, and then they'll wear the anonymous imagery, or they'll be Occupy, and then they'll be part of the Occupy group. They'll be BLM, they'll be Antifa, they'll be Black Bloc, they'll be RevCom, Revolutionary Communists. They're cosplaying. They're putting on their costumes, and it's like girls putting on really sultry, seductive, revealing bikinis and stuff, and going out to insert major concert series here. Whether it's Bonnaroo or Coachella or Louder Than Life, they'll go to these places and they're cosplaying. Or, you put your bustier in and you'll bust up your bust and head on out to the Renaissance Fair. You're cosplaying. You'll go to the anime convention. You'll dress up like your favorite video game characters. You're cosplaying. There are revolutionaries in the streets everywhere. And it is organized. It is very specifically organized to agitate, to try to provoke a Kent State moment. Provoke. I can't believe what happened. We have to really go get them. David says they're trying really hard to cause problems. Yes, they are. Mike Ben's a former CIA guy, giving us the intel here. Thank you for the intel, Mike. Spot on as usual. Mike Benz came out of nowhere. Now he's everywhere. And he's a former spook, which means he could potentially always be a spook. But he does seem to be talking about pretty common sense stuff, and we appreciate his work. This is Kathy Hochul in New York getting grilled by Representative Stefancic, talking about what has happened in New York.
What about Raymond Rojas Basilio? Do you know who that is?
I'm going to tell you our overall policy, which will address all this.
I'll tell you who that is. He is an illegal who molested an 11-year-old in our state because, again, of your sanctuary state policies. This illegal was shielded from federal immigration enforcement and able to commit this heinous crime. And what about Wilson Castillo Diaz? Do you know who that is?
I am telling you this. We do cooperate fully with ICE in criminal prosecution. Our sanctuary
You're not advocating for these victims.
Only deal
this
with
is a 5-year-old who was raped on Long Island in Nassau County. You are not advocating on behalf of these victims. You are shielding illegals. Even in your opening statement, you prioritize putting illegals first. What about Raymond Rojas Basilio? Do you know who that is?
I'm going to tell you our overall policy, which will address all.
One restarted. Kathy Hochul is prioritizing the illegal alien invasion over the residents. Imagine being the victim of migrant crime when these people should have never been in the country to begin with, and you can thank the Democrats. Wyatt says they banned a sitting president from Twitter, impeached him twice, jailed his supporters, raided his home, and indicted him 4 times. Also tried to explode his head in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then they got on TV and told us that we were the fascists. Hashtag never forget. The gaslighting group known as the Democrat Party, the deep state. Yeah, we're the fascists. They're the ones rioting and kicking a dude off of Twitter, the president off Twitter, impeaching him twice for nonsense, jailing his supporters, raiding his home, indicting him, and shooting him in the head. All right, speaking of shooting, Lisa Serbo is putting this together. Iran-Israel strikes. Iranian officials to Al-Mayadeen says any Israeli military step against Iranian nuclear facilities will be met with an unprecedented response from Tehran. This is footage from Tel Aviv. Iranian missiles are raining on Israel in true promise. Look at this. And with all videos like this, I'm not entirely certain what the correct content. This is how it's being reported. Jason says, thanks, Obama, for giving them nukes. Michael talking about the synagogue of Satan, that they're ended. God saying Iran is throwing mosquitoes to Israel. Leonard says God loves Israel. Very polarized. Anything Israeli is polarized. Where do you stand? Oh my God, I never asked this question. What are your thoughts on Israel? What are your thoughts on Iran? Trump says, I gave Iran a chance. Trump was trying to sort this out. Couldn't do it. Also put their hands up and said, we didn't do this. This wasn't us. It was Israel acting on their own free will and authority. Yeah, the comments are bless and protect Israel or make Israel into a moon crater. There really is no in between. The comments are just opposite. David is saying, well, another week we see no real big arrest. Yep, you're right. I try to preach positivity and not taking the black pill, but you know? Someone here says Project Bluebeam is in full effect. Not familiar with Project Bluebeam. Look it up. We'll get back to the war in just a second. This is CNN. This is going to be a conversation about the deportation.
Well, again, according to a CNN poll, 54% of Americans, and according to a CBS poll, 57% of Americans want every illegal migrant deported. It's not a majority want the criminals. A majority want every single one. That is the mandate that Donald
And you can just say illegal alien. They're alien to this land.
Trump believes he was given. Immigration was the top reason people voted for him. Kim Kardashian hates this because she is rich, like the people who employed those nannies. Rich people are now the base of the Democratic Party. They are the employers of low-wage labor. They love illegal migration because they get to pay their nanny less than they would have to pay an American. So, of course, they are very upset that their jobs program of an open border is coming to an end. Working class people see this as a lifeline because they are still represented as the majority in every industry. I just want to make that point. There is not a single industry in the United States that is not done a majority by American citizens. There is no job that is beneath the dignity of Americans. There are no jobs Americans want.
And this is Batya Unger Sargon.
Americans than there are illegal immigrants. So that is also true.
Insult to the American worker to say to them, these are jobs that Americans don't want to do. When millions of Americans are doing those jobs.
Like there are more Americans in the country. So yes, there are going to be more Americans doing everyday jobs. I mean, it's an overwhelming number of Americans versus immigrants.
There's also tens of millions of Americans who've left the labor force and aren't working in the Trump administration.
Karen, a quick last word. And then we have to go.
Well, and I will just take us back to last year when we were talking about a town in Ohio where the president spread a false rumor about Haitian migrants.
Why do you say that's a false rumor? That's not false. It was reported that pets were missing. They were looking at groups of illegal aliens carrying, ducks and geese with broken necks, carrying several of them in their hands, walking around the city, killing off the wildlife and eating it. These were reports that came in from the residents of Springfield, Ohio. I don't like how this lady is just dismissing out of hand. Oh, the president's spreading false reports. No, the reports were there about dogs, about cats, about geese, about, I think geese was the main one. So anyway, don't frame it that way, lady.
Migrants eating cats and dogs, which was a total lie.
No, no, it was not. The city, they're on record. Look up the interviews. There were reports of that happening. That is a fact. And the president was addressing those reports.
Why those migrants were there? Because the factories that were there could not find anyone to take the jobs. The white, no. The working class white.
Oh, yeah. Don't no me. Figure it out. Do a jobs program. Give the people the skills that they need. We'd rather have Americans working than on welfare. Thank you very much.
The working class white people wouldn't do the jobs
For those wages.
No.
I don't know. I mean,
let me just say, I don't know that
Labor. They could pay much less. Yes, I agree with you.
I mean, you're suggesting, I mean, just to be clear, you're suggesting, and I think not incorrectly, that if they simply raise the wages, more Americans would do the jobs. That is probably true, just in a macroeconomic way.
So again, according to a CNN.
Raise the wages so it's not slave labor, and watch what happens. You might actually get people working these jobs instead of permanently changing the demographics of your neighborhood with people with no shared customs, no shared traditions, no vetting, no criminal background check. No, thank you. So yeah, the whole conversation around immigration is just weird. All right, so here's Real America's Voice. Once again, yes, I was on a show with Jack Posobiec reporting from the Bronx about a year ago, right before the president was shot in Butler. And I've interviewed Charlie Kirk. Well, I mean, a brief walk and talk at Politicon back in 2018, I think. Charlie Kirk makes the intro for the Agree to Disagree show. But here they are on a roundtable breaking down what's going on with the Iranian general staff and others who were eliminated in this strike.
According to CNN, the entire Iranian general staff, including the head of all military, several senior Iranian nuclear scientists, all eliminated tonight, intel suggests. So
that
John,
was their targets. I can tell you from talking to Israel in the last couple hours that this was more than just a nuclear strike. This was a decapitation strike against their military, particularly the Republican Guard leadership. So they're achieving more than just a preemptive nuclear strike. They're trying to wipe out the military control and command capabilities of their best officers.
Yeah, and so Iran is a big country and a proud country, John. I want to play this here, actually. Let's play cut 526. This is CNN's reporting.
First, Caitlin, something I just heard from a senior Israeli official who says that according to Israeli assessments, there are very high chances that the entire Iranian general staff, including the head of the Iranian general staff of the Iranian military, and several senior Iranian nuclear scientists were all eliminated in the Israeli strikes tonight.
So here's where our audience is a little confused, John. It was told to be a nuclear issue. If it was just about taking out nuclear reactors, then I guess also taking out the entire senior military command. So help us understand that.
As I said, these early statements that Israel give often has a little bit of propaganda. It often has a little bit of misdirection. Listen, I'm not unconvinced that when the president said that he had sent Witkoff back as an ambassador, that it wasn't a head fake to make the Iranians think they had more time, because the Iranians were, even though Donald Trump signaled for 2 days, I can tell you from what I've heard on the ground and from our own intel before I got on air here, the Iranians were caught a little flat-footed, even though they were being told. So it's possible that Witkoff and the idea that he was coming back to the region might have lulled them into some complacency. They were caught a little bit flat-footed. They could have all been at a meeting preparing, thinking they had another day before Israel. What's our war plan? And Israel could have sniped them tonight. That is what happens when war gets started, right? All rules are set aside. I know for certain from talking to my Israeli sources that beyond the nuclear reactor targeting, there was a decapitation strategy to get some of the Iranian National Guard and those generals that were most capable in the nuclear warfare to be knocked out tonight if they could get.
John, please tell the audience how people can support Just the News, some of your reporting, and what are you keeping your eye on most closely in the coming hours and days?
Solomon with Just the News.
FBI response is going to be number one. Are they concerned? Do they begin to issue terrorism warning on our site? Do we wake up tomorrow morning to any news that U.S. troops have been engaged by Iran overseas? I'm hoping not. I think the Trump administration right now has some level of confidence that won't happen. But those are wild cards that change this dynamic very quickly for the United States. Everybody can keep up with us at justthenews.com and on Jay Solomon Reports on all social media, including Truth.
According to CNN, the entire Iranian...
So we're in the middle of it, folks. They went after everyone. We'll tell you more about it in a second, bouncing around based on what we have in our feed. C3 says the Democrats have around 50 fraudulent congressional seats due to illegals. Do you even understand what that means, having 50 fraudulent seats because you have non-citizens artificially inflating the residency of these areas? I mean, this is a big deal. And that's the battle for America. Will we sell our country out to anybody from any parts unknown? We don't know what values they hold and what's near and dear to them. Why don't we know? Because they weren't vetted. Because they haven't had to prove who they are for an extended period of time. And so what do you get? You have a replacement of the citizens of the sovereign nations of Earth in a coordinated effort. I do call it the Obama Doctrine. Oh, there's a migration crisis. No, there's forced colonization as part of the Obama Doctrine. That's what we're living through. Oh, there's a crisis. You're doing it intentionally. So, due to these illegals, 50 fraudulent congressional seats that the Democrats have, that's 760,000 people per seat, 40 million illegal aliens. That's what this is all about, power. Every 760,000 illegals deported, the Democrats lose a seat. You wonder why they're fighting so hard. For people with no vested interest in the outcome. All right, let's bounce over here. Chris Cuomo discussing who is funding these coordinated riots in DC, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. That's crazy. I was in all of these places recently.
These protests are fed by dark sources with a desire for our destruction. One of the main players in organizing and funding the Los Angeles protests is a group called CHIRLA, C-H-I-R-L-A, acronym, Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights. They have received millions in government grants and state grants, but now reports are showing that there may be a foreign link, specifically from China, funding and organizing these protests. The pro-Chinese far-left Party for Socialism and Liberation, they're known as the PSL. They are working with CHIRLA, helping fund the protests in Los Angeles and maybe elsewhere. Remember, all the parties in China are controlled by the CCP. So this is China. And the party is pushing to destroy capitalism and the West. This is its agenda. This is what China wants. They even have a term for the effort. It's called the smokeless war, where they have this theory of how they'll destroy the West without actually taking to the battlefield. That's what they did during the anti-Israel campus protests. The PSL worked hand in glove with anti-Zionist student groups and helped organize and fund the Columbia campus encampments. Now it gets scarier. Where does the PSL get its money? Enter Shanghai-based socialist billionaire Neville Singham. 2017, he sold his
We covered Neville Singham a few days ago. He's being tied to this
tech company for about $1 billion. Reports show the same year he started funding far-left groups like the PSL to the tune of millions. Singham is not America's friend. He has deep business ties to the CCP, but also has strong ideological ties to communism, period. People who worked for him says he's an admirer of Mao, Che Guevara, Hugo Chavez, not friends of American culture. According to the New York Times, Singham has funded and developed a deep global empire of pro-China nonprofits in the media and grassroots political space, steering millions into these groups over the years, including the PSL. And guess who was associated with the PSL and other Singham-funded groups? Elias Rodriguez. Ring a bell? This scumbag, the 30-year-old Chicago man who murdered two Israeli staffers in cold blood last month to make a political point. These protests are fed by dark sources with a desire for our destruction. One of the main players in organizing and funding the Los Angeles protests is a group called CHIRLA, C-H-I-R-L.
Okay. Now we're back to the beginning of it. CCP. What was our comment? We said, actually, I got to go back.
These protests are fed by dark sources.
Oh, where did our comment go? Commies pushing chaos. China unleashed COVID. Why aren't we more aggressively punishing and cutting ties with communist China? Can someone explain to me why we're not being more aggressive in cutting ties with communist China? Stephen A. Smith has thoughts. Bella, what's up, Bella's Chance? Says that was the primary purpose of Biden's open border, to get congressional seats. Yep. Yeah. I mean, look, smart people have the same thought, right? Yeah. Why else would they be doing it? To sell this country out. Here's Stephen A. Smith. He's voiced thoughts about maybe leading the Democrat Party, and I'll tell you what, they don't have any real leadership. I mean, they got a clown car full of awful, but that doesn't really just because they have 50 people around doesn't make them good choices to lead that party. The party's essentially leaderless at this point. All right, here's Stephen A. Smith torching Alex Padilla. He's going to explain it, and then we'll watch this video.
You have this senator, Alex Padilla. Can Kristi Noem speak? Could you have waited till she finished to ask your questions? To shout your questions? You are a senator, right? You couldn't wait? So that was just you out of control because you were just losing it, huh? You, a United States senator, couldn't compose yourself and let the head of Homeland Security finish her thoughts before you asked the question. Couldn't do that, huh? Couldn't do it.
It's all... Scott Adams likes to say they're theater kids. The Democrats are theater kids putting on a play, having a competition, a photo op competition. Who can get the best photo? And so far, the Republicans are winning the photo contest. You got Palestine flags and Mexican flags while the city's burning. Cop cars are burning. There's your Democrat ad. There's the perfect advertisement for Republicans in the midterm elections.
Here you have this senator, Alex Padilla. Can Kristi Noem speak? Could you have waited till she finished
Was this the beginning
to
of
ask your questions? To shout your questions? You are a senator, right?
Yeah, I think that was the repeat. I'll show you what happened because he got arrested. Bouncing back to the Israel story again. I know we're all over the place, but that is sort of the nature of what we do here. We unpack our Instagram feed, then we unpack our X feed. There's a lot of stories jumbled together based on what we have. So this is CNN discussing the nuclear capabilities of Iran, the entire Iranian general staff, and the strikes by Israel. Buckle up.
And something I just heard from a senior Israeli official who says that according to Israeli assessments, there are very high chances that the entire Iranian general staff, including the head of the Iranian general staff of the Iranian military, and several senior Iranian nuclear scientists were all eliminated in the Israeli strikes tonight. I hear that again from a senior Israeli official who says that several senior top Iranian military commanders, including the head of the general staff of the Iranian military and senior nuclear scientists, have all been targeted in those strikes. And according to IDF assessments, there's a high chance that they've been eliminated.
I mean, that is really striking intelligence, if that is accurate.
First, Caitlin, something I just heard from a senior Israeli official.
Yeah, the not our problem button. And also, Israel's doing the world a favor. The comments section is flip a coin, people.
Work with law enforcement.
Here's Tom Emmer going to town on Tim Walz as a failed governor. I mean, he oversaw the riots in the summer of love in 2020 and the totalitarian reaction
to enforce the law. In May 2020, looting, acts of violence, and arson occurred on your watch in Minneapolis after you refused to bring in the National Guard. Governor, your agenda is clear. Free health care, free college and driver's licenses for illegals while handcuffing law enforcement when they're trying to protect our citizens and their communities. If you think that's not a sanctuary state, you shouldn't be governor. By turning Minnesota into a magnet for illegals, you have opened up our communities to dangerous criminals, including known terrorists, gang members, murderers, and child predators. You have sent a resounding message that if you're a hardworking, law-abiding citizen of Minnesota, your safety and well-being are not the priorities of Tim Walz and his administration. But if you're coming to our state illegally, you're not only welcome with open arms, you're entitled to free stuff on the taxpayer's dime. This is absolutely disgraceful. Governor Walz, your sanctuary state agenda has been defined by your utter failure. You have failed to enforce the rule of law. You have failed to uphold our national sovereignty. And most importantly, you have failed the people of Minnesota. The time for radical sanctuary state policy, sir, is over. The voters made that clear last November when they elected President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. You remember him, don't you? Governor, the time for real leaders and real leadership is now. And with that, sir, actually, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to introduce into the record the governor's tweet that I referenced from May 23rd, 2018, which makes it clear his hatred for federal law enforcement. Thank you.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Chair recognizes Mr. Mfume.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I have a unanimous consent request, and I'd like to present.
Work with law enforcement to enforce.
This is your Democrat leadership. All right. The appeals court has overturned a lower court judge and will allow President Trump to maintain control of the California National Guard. I mean, I can't believe we're even having this conversation. There it is, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, granting administrative stay of Judge Breyer's ruling, allowing Trump to keep the National Guard deployed for a few more days while a three-judge panel considers the case. We'll see if they overturn this. Yeah, the National Guard exists to stop insurrections, to stop invasions. That's exactly what's been happening with this illegal alien invasion. That's the commander-in-chief. This isn't complicated, people. The Lincoln Project put out, arresting officials from the opposing party is authoritarianism 101. The Lincoln Project is absolutely awful. So, community notes for the win. I love what X has done on kind of providing context when people put reckless posts out like the Lincoln Project tried to do. So, Abraham Lincoln arrested political opponents. And the Lincoln Project also celebrated the arrest of Trump by the Biden administration. So, hey, Lincoln Project, you win our prize of the day for getting ratioed by reality. All right. Once again, see if CNN is reporting these numbers on immigration, what do you think the real numbers might be?
Immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
So that's on that issue. How about how they feel about kind of traditionally, historically about Donald Trump?
Yeah. So, you see this shift and you go, what is going on underneath the hood? Well, take a look, Donald Trump. You remember when he first ran back in 2016, immigrant voters are one of his weakest spots. But look at this. Trump's vote share in presidential elections among, again, immigrant citizens, those who are registered to vote. Look at this. In 2016, he got 36% of the vote. You go to 2020, 39% of the vote. Look at this. In 2024, all the way up to 47% of the vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely losing that vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely winning that vote. Again, there is no block of voters that shifted more to the right from 2020 to 2024 than immigrant voters. And Donald Trump, at least in some surveys, actually won that vote. On average, it's about equal. So there may be all this stuff, right, about undocumented immigrants and Trump being harsh on them, but immigrant voters themselves have increasingly liked Donald Trump and have increasingly moved to the right on immigration into the Republican camp.
Well, then on that, what you're...
When the Democrats have lost the immigrants, you understand how they're sitting at a 19% approval rating. 19% is too high.
Getting at how immigrant citizens, voters, feel about people in the country illegally.
Yeah, and this is where it all kind of comes together, Kate Baldwin. Look at this. The net favorable rating, immigrants who are here illegally, among immigrant citizens, again, those registered to vote. In 2020, look at this, plus 23 points on the net favorable rating. But look at where we were in 2024, minus 6 points, underwater. So immigrant citizens have become increasingly unfavorable in their views of those immigrants who are here illegally. So I think it's so important when we're talking about this debate from a political angle to separate those out who are undocumented immigrants versus those who are here legally and those who are citizens and those who are voters, because that group of voters has felt increasingly distant from those immigrants who are here legally. And so again, when we're talking about this, at least from a political angle, this is why Donald Trump feels so comfortable, because in fact, amongst the group that you would think that would be most opposed to this, in fact, they become increasingly favorable, not just towards Donald Trump, but towards a Republican point of view on immigration and becoming distant from those immigrants who are here illegally.
Yeah, an important baseline to consider as this plays out.
Yes, we'll see where we are in a few weeks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Harry. John.
Start off on the...
I mean, that's the comment. When Democrats even lose the immigrant vote, you know exactly why the D's are polling at about 19%. Their party is cooked. They're cooked. Raging West posts this. Chance of get them out. Ring around Cork, Ireland, as the Irish hit back against the migrant invasion of their country. The world is watching. It's happening everywhere. Nobody wants to be invaded. Yes, they're not. So you go. It's happening globally. Eric Mutso says in the near future, don't be surprised if there's an orchestrated fake attack on American soil. Hold on, let me put this back up here. Yes, here we go. And we're back. Eric Mutso says in the near future, don't be surprised if there's an orchestrated fake attack on American soil perpetrated by the deep state part of Israel. Yes, Israel. To falsely implicate Iran or Russia. If this happens, I believe it will be an attempt to draw the United States into a manufactured World War III against the wrong enemy, just like they did with 9/11, where 0 weapons of mass destruction were found. Please pray for President Trump that he will have the eyes to see the truth with what is about to unfold. I mean, that's a pretty bold accusation. So let me ask the group. Here's the time to type it. Do you agree or disagree with this thought? We are in dangerous times. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous times. Do you see a false flag on the horizon? Well, President Trump had this to say regarding the attacks. He says, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, but with much more to come. And they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There's already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction, just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. Do I even need to say it? Let's go through the comments. Israel is literally saving the world, says one. The Iranian people will be so happy. They hate their government. Now that's true. They do. This isn't Israel versus Iran. It's Israel and the Iranian people versus the Islamic Republic. Remember that. Iran, we love you and we look forward to the day you're finally free from the Ayatollah. Please pray for Iran and Israel. This one says, no. We voted for Trump because he was a no-war president. This is Israel's war, not ours. Right here. You can't reason or negotiate with terrorism. Yes, President Trump, greatest in the world. Make Persia great again. Stop and think. He's not starting a war. He's ending one before it begins. All right, David says that could be a true statement about potential for false flag attacks. I mean, you got to always stay frosty. Tomorrow's going to be a great day to stay out of the big city, said Laura Loomer. Didn't cite any particular intel, but she's a very connected person. I am going to do the opposite because I am a sovereign human and I don't live in fucking fear. Although you're supposed to make sure you don't do stupid things with stupid people in stupid places. So it's the rule of threes of stupidity. But I have things planned, and I'm going to go do those things. I'm going to be very cautious. I'm going to be very alert to what's going on. You saw Ron DeSantis pass legislation that you can run over people in the road. You know, I mean, blocking the road, you have to assume, is a violent threat. You have zero business being in the road. Bella is saying, totally agree about the false flag conversation. Oh, and that's what took Kenneth so long to join us today. He says, I ran into an old friend. But I did point out earlier today with my buddy that Barack Hussein Obama seemed to always back the bad guys. He created ISIS. He and his team were the puppet masters behind Biden handing all of that military weaponry in Afghanistan over to the terrorists. He negotiated to get back that traitor, Bo Bergdahl, that sided with the Taliban. And it was Obama that could have backed the people of Iran in the revolution. What was that, 2013? I'm forgetting what year it is, or what year it was. But the people were very close to overthrowing their religious zealot of a leader, their Ayatollah. And instead, Iran backed the bad guys, the religious Islamic zealots. Par for the course. Iran could have been overthrown and could have had actual decent representative government for a decade or more. But Obama backed the horse that you would expect. Although my friend said, no, he's Christian. Sure he is. Look at his policies and you tell me what horse he's backing. Kenneth lives in Fear Valley myself. Oh, Fear Valley, I meant. All right. So look, President Trump is trying to stop this from escalating. He gave Iran a chance. And here's a good time to remember when you have friends that are going to say stuff like this. When someone from a country with no guns says that I don't need guns, I don't remember asking you a GD thing. They speak English in what? What ain't no country I ever heard of? Yeah. If you're from a place that allowed yourself to get disarmed, we don't need your feedback on anything. Thank you very much. Here's a nice humorous post. Vibe check for Kenneth. This Miles here says, this can't be the future Dippin' Dots was the ice cream of. The ice cream of the future. Today. This can't be the future that Dippin' Dots was the ice cream of. Just a little joke. By the way, did you hear we have soldier astronauts on the moon? I mean, I've known this, but
young Americans across the country get to see all of the amazing things that the Army has done, whether it's helping with floods in North Carolina or wildfires in California, or we talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier, including actually going to war and fighting to defend the freedoms that are that make our nation so great. We think this is going to be an incredible opportunity for the Army to fill up our pipeline for the years to come. As young Americans across the country get to see all of the amazing things that the Army has done, whether it's helping with floods in North Carolina or wildfires in California, or we talked to an astronaut yesterday.
And so the comments here are saying we never left Earth orbit, period, full stop. I feel like I've seen Mike Barra say stuff like that. That's a little plug. I'm overdue to do another show with Mike Barra. He and I do Strictly Football with Brian Engelman and Mike Barra, and we also have Jim Mitchell joins us as well. Yeah, we're overdue for a show, but we definitely did an NFL draft show. He's a Seahawks fan, I'm a Browns fan, and we get together and talk football. But yeah, Mike is an Ancient Aliens guy, and I've scrolled some of his posts. It's interesting because we either have Ancient Aliens and we are multi-orbital. We're all over the place, or we can't get past the Van Allen belt. We can't make it to the moon. The moon landing was faked. Stanley Kubrick recorded it in a film studio in Arizona or something. I mean, all right, here's one. Agree or disagree? The United States. Okay, here. The United States has soldier astronauts on the moon. Agree or disagree? The United States have soldier astronauts currently on the moon. I'm torn on this one. I'm asking for the wisdom of the chat room. The United States has soldier astronauts on the moon. Agree or disagree? But yeah, we never left Earth orbit, period, full stop. No way, that's great. We landed on the moon. Right. Can't wait to see this alleged moon landing. Should at least look better than the last one, thanks to better technology and AI video creation effects. This comment, sure, Jan. Sure. Seeing that it was all over the news that China was just on the dark side of the moon last week mining samples, it's interesting that the U.S. is now saying we have someone on the moon. Yes. Everybody has people up there now. Looks like a United Nations conference. Howtobuildaspaceship.com is an Easter egg from Elon Musk, released in 2020, detailing space station called the Sprout. And on this Halo-esque space station, AI robots would take shuttles and extract rare minerals from the surface of the moon, and they would then fly them back to the Sprout to trade the minerals back to the Earth's surface. What in the Halliburton? Anyway, I didn't have that one on my bingo.
As young Americans across the country.
Here we are. Space soldiers. Space soldier astronauts on the moon. Once again, I take the side. I played this briefly yesterday. I'll play it one more time. I do actually take the side of the reporter here.
So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
La-di-da-di-da. But look, the president did say we're not going to tolerate protests. We'll have a very strong force out there. We're not tolerating it. He didn't say we're not tolerating violent protests. He just said we're not tolerating protests. So it called for a clarification given. It's fine. No harm, no foul. I don't think that reporter's a dummy for asking the question. She got her clarification. Moving on. So look, I'm fair. I'm fair. By the way, is Carolyn Levitt losing weight? She's looking skinny in the face. Like she almost looks different, like a different person. Peter Thiel, allegedly being confronted on his way to the globalist Bilderberg meeting in Sweden.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir?
The comment here is that if you switch the letters to his name around Peter Thiel, that spells the reptile.
Or any of your connections to Jeffrey Epstein? I think people are rather concerned about that last particular one. You're setting up a Big Brother surveillance system, and people know it, sir.
A reptile.
You think the American people want this surveillance tech being used against them? Any comments at all on the Epstein connections? You were meeting with them. People are waking up to what you're doing there, sir. That's why we're here covering this.
Got no comments, Nick.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir?
Yeah, Palantir is in the news, and it deserves to be. I'm against him.
What we saw in Los Angeles.
This is Corinne Rankin about the Los Angeles riots.
Was not a peaceful protest. Criminals attacked officers, police horses, and property with commercial-grade fireworks, rocks, hammers, and other weapons. They burned our flag while waving the flags of foreign nations like conquerors in our streets. Hundreds were not arrested or charged while lives and property were threatened. This is a direct result of Democrat politicians who weaken.
And there's music in the background that undermine our law enforcement and encourage lawlessness. I call on all Angelinos to continue expressing your right, your anger, your outrage. This is a manufactured crisis. The American people voted to remove criminal, illegal immigrants.
The president must be allowed to enforce the law. It's tragic
that Democrats gave illegal immigrants false hope that they could stay. Yes, I've said this before. Your beef is with the Democrats that used you. Don't blame us. Common sense dictates that you can't just sneak into a place and you're not going to have unlimited free money forever. We all know that. Shame on the Democrats for abusing you the way they did, lying to you. It's not our fault. We never promised you something that wasn't going to happen. Oh, well, it would have happened if you wouldn't have stopped us. No. This was always destined to stop. Your beef is with the Democrat Party for using you. That's such a good point.
regardless of their crimes. We must fully support law enforcement, arrest and prosecute every criminal, and replace the Democratic politicians who encouraged this to happen.
Yep. That's how we restore order and protect Californians. That's a message from the California GOP. That's a good message. Hey, good morning, DC. Dan Scavino Jr. putting out some comms. Scavino's good for comms. Army's 250th birthday party set to pop off. They're playing music. Let's see if they flag this one. Yeah, this is a news event that we're covering. It's the military, and the military is playing music. You can't limit the reach of this video because of fair use. Happy 250th birthday, military. President Trump, according to leading report, retains control of the National Guard in L.A. after the Ninth Circuit overturns a lower court judge's ruling in favor of Gavin Newsom. Breaking 911 says more than 20 of the most senior commanders in the Iranian Revolutionary Guards were meeting in a secret underground bunker and were all killed in a single IDF strike, thanks to Mossad intelligence. President Trump gave him a chance. President Trump says, 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get there. Now they have perhaps a second chance. So right here, according to Toria Brooke, it says Mossad reportedly secretly constructed a drone base inside Iran, which was then used to strike missile launchers near Tehran and prevent retaliatory attacks on Israel. Below is a... Okay, I was just trying to read all that. Additionally, Mossad smuggled weapon systems into Iran using vehicles. These systems were used to disable air defenses. A separate covert operation involved Mossad operatives deploying precision-guided missiles near anti-aircraft positions in central Iran. All right, people, are we understanding this yet? Man, I'm... Apologies, I'm getting my allergies kicked in. This is exactly what happened in Russia. They used trucks, drove them inside, and they were full of drones. This is the second time in a month that we've seen this. You got to be inspecting these vehicles, like all of them. A separate covert operation involved Mossad operatives deploying precision-guided missiles near anti-aircraft positions in central Iran. David says that Peter Thiel acts like a reptile. A reptile dysfunction. Ah. David does not believe in any way that we have bases on the moon. David says, shouldn't it be Space Force and not the Army? Good point. But remember, Space Force is so new. You got to imagine there are branches in the Army, in the Air Force that overlap and work under the command of Space Force. I could imagine other branches having subdivisions that work with Space Force. But yes, I get your point. That's a good point. Kenneth says it's likely that we're up there on the moon. I think that's likely. Farming the moon for cheese and pizza, for pizza cheese. Bella's chance. I've gone back and forth forever about the U.S. moon landing. I believe, and then I don't. What did John Kerry say? I used to be for it until I was against it. Bravo. You call your helmet the space station? Gavin Newsom, more like Gavin Bluesome. Kind of says you were given a chance, and now it's time to make it in your pants. Top of the morning to you, unholy hoax, down there in San Antonio. Have I tested the damp cloth on kitty trick yet? It'll help your allergies. I have not. I was doing fine, but Nimbus jumps up here. Like the whole show started with him nuzzling my head. If you go back to like the very first 10 seconds of this show, he jumped right up. He waited until I was getting ready to do the show, and he started giving me the headbutts. I was like, oh, okay, buddy. And then my elbows and my hands, I'm touching over here on my desk. I got to wipe everything down. I don't know. I love my guys, but phew, believe it or not, I'm allergic. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free. Lord, a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? All right, so here's OSINT Defender, which is an account you need to watch. Take a look at this. Is there audio? uranium enrichment site in the Natanz area, largest uranium enrichment site in Iran. The site is suitable for military level enrichment. Showing you graphics. The Israel Defense Force released a graphic showing the uranium enrichment site located beneath the Natanz nuclear facility in central Iran, which was heavily targeted during today's airstrike by the Israeli Air Force. Yeah, they know where everything's at. Maybe not everything, but they try to. All these subterranean. I mean, so launching from Israel 1,500 kilometers into Iran. The head of the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization claims the Israel airstrikes did not cause any damage to underground nuclear facilities. Iranian President Pezeshkian says our powerful response will make the enemy regret its foolish actions. Okay. Last night, there was an increased police presence and additional road closures placed around the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Was this before or after the strikes? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that flimsy mesh ought to do it. Are they for real? This plastic mesh? Is this real? Yeah, that ought to fix it. Last night, an increased... Is there volume on any of these? Am I getting volume? Yeah, my volume's up. There's just nothing to listen to. Increased police presence and additional road closures placed around Israeli embassy.
Respond. They hit Israel.
Oh, here you go. You know who this guy is. Nick Fuentes floats the possibility of the Israel-Iran conflict culminating in nuclear attack, noting that if the U.S. were to regime change Iran, a militarily developed country of 90 million people, it would require a full-scale invasion or a Hiroshima-style strike.
Israel and the United States. Israel and the United States hit back. Iran, if they're capable, is going to retaliate again. We're in a full-blown war. The only way the war ends is in regime change. What Israel always wanted, toppling the government. This is a country of 90 million people. You know how many people that is? America's got 350 million. Russia's got about, 160, 150 million? I think Germany has 80 million people. This is a country with the population the size of Germany that we're now going to topple their government. We are now going to be in the business of destroying their entire navy, destroying all their missile silos, destroying all their nuclear facilities with bunker-busting bombs. They've got 1 million soldiers. How are we going to enforce a new government? Respond. They hit Israel and the United States. Israel and the United States hit back. Iran, if they're capable, is going to retaliate.
Yeah, take a look at the map. Iran right there, touching Afghanistan, touching Iraq. We cannot avoid being at war in this fucking region. Is anybody else sick of constantly being at war over here? Our entire lives. Afghanistan, Iraq, then Afghanistan. Now Iran? Come on.
Again, we're in a full-blown war. The only way the war ends is in regime change. What Israel always wanted, toppling the government.
Okay, is this the beginning?
This is a country of 90.
Yeah, it's the same clip. Actually, wait a minute. Let me make sure I followed it all.
Spot. Without some kind of ground invasion. Is that possible? We couldn't defeat the Houthis without a ground invasion. We couldn't defeat a bunch of rebel pirates taking over a port city in Yemen with primitive drones. We're going to overthrow the government of a country with 90 million people and 1 million soldiers, and we're going to just do it with airstrikes? I don't think it's a given that we're going to invade with boots on the ground, but there's a very good chance. And if we're not going to invade with boots on the ground because it's too costly, what's the other option? Remind you of anything else? We're at war with an enemy that'll never surrender. Invading the mainland would be far too costly. It's too many people. What's the obvious? What's the only way we could get him to surrender? Israel attacked their nuclear facilities. Iran is going to attack Israel's nuclear facilities. Iran will never surrender without some kind of ground invasion. Is that possible? We couldn't defeat the Houthis. We can't defeat them with air power alone. We don't want to invade. What's next? This is what happens when you're in World War III.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuclear weapons. You really have like two options. We're going to nuke Iran or we're going to invade Iran. What's the other option? After Israel has blown up their entire military command and control where they live, bombed their nuclear facilities, releasing radioactive material into the air, crippling their economy and destroying their oil, they're going to let it go? They're going to make a deal now? The Ayatollah is going to come to the table and trust Israel and the United States. Oh, you just snuck attack us with a preemptive strike. The United States has no control over Israel. Let's make a deal, though, now. Under what conditions would they surrender? We can't defeat them with air power alone. We don't want to invade. What's next? This is what happens when you're in World War III. Yeah, nuclear. Under what conditions would their government collapse? We're not talking about Libya. We're not talking about Somalia. We're not even talking about Iraq. In 2003, when we invaded Iraq, they had a military that was about half the size of Iran's, a population a third the size. They had no missiles. They had no navy. They had no nuclear program. They had no drone industry that was native. They had no fortified missile complexes underground. How exactly do you think this is going to go over the next weeks, over the next few weeks? I think, unfortunately, it's going to be very quick. Maybe. It may not even go the way we think that it will. Under what conditions would their government collapse? We're not talking about Libya. We're not talking about Somalia. We're not even talking about Iraq. In 2003, when we invaded Iraq, they had a military that was...
Fear is the path to the dark side.
Oh, okay. Yes, you haven't been properly introduced. This is Mr. Bean. His name's Ben. He was named after the leader of the Others on Lost, that TV show, because we adopted all sorts of cats, and we named all of them except for this guy. I said, what's this guy's name? What's the other one? What should we name the other one? And we were watching Lost at the time. I said, oh, he's the other one? We'll name him Bean as the leader of the Others. Ben was the name of the other, the leader on the movie Lost. How has he been? How have you been? He's a sweet kitty. He's very skittish. He's very skittish, but sometimes he's very loving. But he's one of these guys, he won't let you pick him up. Like me scruffing him is very it's a little different. It's a little you roll the dice. Is he gonna turn Tasmanian devil, teeth and nails, and scratch you up? Oh, he will. But he's definitely like almost impossible to take to the vet or anything. So, I adopted out all of his brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, Mr. Astor, rest in peace. Astor means star. And he's up with the stars now. Lovely guy, Mr. Astor. But yeah, Mr. Ben is joining us today. We're here with Bella's Chance, a kitty fan. Mr. Bean. Bella's Chance says, very wonderful to meet you. So wonderful to meet you. Here, lift your head so they can see your awesome pink nose like a rabbit. You're like a rabbit. Yeah, I know. It is a hairball of love. He's very fluffy. He's very fuzzy. Aren't you, bud? Thank you. All right, we do the nose kisses sometimes. Oh, man, it is dark and it is thunderous. This post says here, babe, come join us. Israel just got attacked. Israel just attacked Iran, so I'm loading up on oil and defense stocks, babe. Yeah. Isn't that what you would want to do at a time like this? Perhaps. All right. That's what I had to share with you on Instagram. I want to run through what we had on X. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's jump to it. Oh, it is raining, coming down hard. Wind is blowing. Here we go. So here you go. One person shooting one person. Here's my tax dollars and somehow also my tax dollars. We'll fund one side to attack and one side to defend. The comment here from the Libertarian Party of New York says, no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. I know, David. Aren't these beautiful animals? Mr. Bean is just... he's as handsome as anyone's ever seen. Mr. Bean. Yeah, should I scroll this? There you go. Now they can see you. Now they can see you. He will often lay down at my head and just lay on my skull as I fall asleep. I fall asleep to his purring. Bella understands Annie and Eli are skittish. It's warfare getting them to the vets. Yeah. I just never have. I never have. I want to, but I wouldn't even know how to begin to try to put him into a carrier. I do the best I can with what I got, you know. Nimbus will let me pick him up. In fact, we have a very quickly approaching veterinarian appointment. Yeah, God is bowling up there. I'm listening to it. That is what it sounds like. All right. Yeah, here's John McCain right now, everybody. You got a casket rolling on a flat. Oh, hold on. Let me switch it. There you go. John McCain right now. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Rising like the Undertaker. McCain was always here.
Boy song.
How many of you thought of John McCain in this clip specifically? I did.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomberan. Bom, 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 bom.
Gotta mute it a minute. Rest in peace to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. You got me rocking in a row. Rocking to the rhythm, Bomberan. So, there you go. John McCain finally gets his wish. Bomb, 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 bomberan. Here's John McCain looking up from hell with a smile, says Libertarian Party Opossum Caucus. Finally, war with Iran. Dom Luker, breaker of narrative, says thousands of TikTok creators are posting nearly identical videos concerning the ICE raids. This is very reminiscent of the videos that show the mainstream media reading the same script across hundreds of stations. By the way, if these ICE protests are Chinese sponsored, you wonder why China has refused to sell TikTok, huh? Huh. Go figure. Who would have known? Let's take a watch. I will say it's a little bit less effective because it's harder to tell what they're even saying. But just imagine all these women not caring about vetting, about not screening to make sure the people you're letting into the country don't have a criminal record and won't try to rape you and end your life. Where do these women get off with no sense of self-defense, protection? And then these two little guys. So anyway, this one isn't quite as effective because it's hard to tell what they're saying. Okay, here's two great communicators. Tulsi Gabbard talks about the LA riots and how they're orchestrated, and she knows What's up?
The bottom line is they don't care about the American people. They don't even care about the people that they're claiming to protest for. So many of them are paid protesters. This thing is being orchestrated, obviously, in many ways. And ultimately, President Trump is the one who took action to keep the American people safe and try to bring peace back to the streets that these rioters are destroying. The bottom line.
Yeah, she says she has the receipts. So here's the new hoax that dropped. Let's take a look here. Alex Padilla, clown show. He says he identified himself before being dragged out by security, but full video shows he started heckling and interrupting Kristi Noem and only introduced himself after he was already being dragged out for disrupting. If not for X, you would probably never know this. Thank you, Elon, I'm going to say. Alex Padilla and the Democrats and the media are straight up lying.
Secretary, I want to know why you insist
so I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
to insert
Secretary, I want to know why you insist
so I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
to insert
Secretary, I want to know why you insist
so I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions.
What a dork.
And I just couldn't accept the rhetoric anymore, so I had the audacity.
I couldn't accept the rhetoric anymore, so I had audacity
to try to ask a question.
Yeah, you do that when it's time for that.
I introduced myself. I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I have a question. And it took all of maybe a second for multiple agents.
Yeah, God bless the Secret Service and the people that protect the elected officials of the Trump administration from people like you, honestly.
To forcibly remove me from the room.
Yeah, you don't run the room. You're not going to grandstand and take this over for your political stunt.
To pin me on the ground and handcuff me.
Because you're a criminal.
And
we said adios, Alex. Gateway Pundit reports a Obama judge blocks President Trump's executive order requiring proof of citizenship to vote in the federal elections. Who's surprised here? Oh, Mr. Bean, your ears are warm. Wait, one ear is warm, one is not. What do you got going on? You got one warm ear, you got one cold ear. Here's Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent exposing Elizabeth Warren to her face.
You don't want to answer the question.
No, Senator, I am answering
No,
it.
you're not.
And what I want is for Medicaid to be used for mothers and children as it was meant, not for 1.4 million illegal aliens, not for able-bodied people.
You don't.
So they're trying to control Medicare again, or else it's going to go bankrupt. So clandestine here. Yeah, this is kind of funny to watch this without sound.
Before this.
He's such an over-actor theater kid. Such an over-actor. Clandestine says it's clear what the Democrats are up to with this Padilla thing. They keep bringing up No Kings protest over the weekend. They're trying to rile up the public and incite a nationwide insurrection. We are witnessing a regime change operation.
If you could make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop? He's a United States senator.
He's a disrespectful piece of crap. That's what he is. He had every right to wait until there was a moment to ask a question. He chose to be disruptive and jump in and cause a scene for a media stunt to get photographs. Who can get the best photo?
And if you could force him to kneel to his knees violently, when
Forced to kneel. No, he got arrested.
does it stop? What does it say to other Americans who want to speak up?
It says, don't mess around and don't find out. Bunch of spoiled, entitled brats. It's the fact that these people haven't been held to account that this has gotten so brazen and so stupid, so destructive, so backward, so divisive.
What does it say to other Americans that want to exercise their constitutional duty? What does it say to other Americans this weekend when they want to peacefully protest? What does it say to other Americans from humble backgrounds who know poverty? That if a United States senator who stands up to do his job can be made to heal.
What a dork. Look at this guy. No, his job is not to interrupt Kristi Noem. No.
Do its job, can be made to heal, driven to his knees, violently handcuffed. What does it say? What message does it send? Everybody in this body should see that this is a crossroads. They treated a member of the United States Senate violently after he identified himself, dragged him out of a room, threw him upon the ground, and put him in handcuffs. Every member of this body should object to that. Why? Because...
Yeah, Cory Booker, did you object to President Trump being framed for treason, framed for insurrection, framed in New York with Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, framed by Fannie Lewis? When they tried to off him at his golf course in Florida, when they tried to off him in Butler, Pennsylvania? Yeah? Were you outraged then, pal?
Should object to that.
Did you object to that treatment of President Trump?
Why? Because the statement was that he was disrespectful.
Yeah. Did you watch the video? He absolutely was. He was interrupting a press conference. You should have some decorum.
That is unacceptable.
No, the Padilla actions are unacceptable. You're not twisting it. You're not gaslighting it.
That is offensive.
You are offensive. Look at this guy overacting. I don't know if he's high on like methamphetamines or something. Like something's off about this guy. I'm not accusing him. I'm just saying I wonder. Let's see what's going on. Alina Habba is doing more in New York than Bondi at the DOJ. Yeah, get rid of Bondi and put Alina Habba in charge. Let her become the Attorney General. Replace Bondi with Alina. Yeah, I'm done. No confidence in Patel, Bongino, or Bondi. None. No confidence. Bella says Elizabeth Warren is proof that voting is corrupt in Massachusetts. That's pretty fair. Yeah, I don't know if he's coked up or something, but like, look at his just weird facial expression. Look at this. I guess maybe can I full screen this? It gets smaller, actually. Here we go.
That is un-American. When you drive a man to his knees.
Yeah, it's called getting arrested because it's a dangerous scenario where you're going past the seated group who's there to listen to approach the person after that this administration has been so violently targeted. You asked for it. And they're trying to get their martyrs. They're trying to get their photo ops to make it like, God, you don't hate the deep state Democrats enough.
In the United States of America, that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong.
Is it wrong, though?
This is a test. This
and you failed.
Is a crossroads.
Yeah. Like Yogi Berra said, when you reach the fork in the road, take it.
This is a day in which the character of this body will be defined.
Yep, and they did a great job. DC Drano says, if Israel can launch sophisticated drone attacks from within Iran and Ukraine can launch them deep within Russia, okay, that's exactly what I was saying. We need a national ban on CCP-owned farmland near our military bases. They are clearly being set up to launch attacks from within our borders. Ban the CCP. Data Republican says, serious question. After seeing what Israel did to Iran last night, why are we not taking back the CCP farmland today? Exactly. Do it today. Raid them today. Take it back. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says, I've formally submitted a letter to President Trump requesting an immediate freeze on all federal funds authorized to the AFL-CIO, which is an organization that received over $72 million and is directly tied to the upcoming No Kings protest this Saturday. The American people are sick of watching their taxpayer dollars fund a Marxist race war. Thank you, Mike Benz and Data Republican, for your research. Mike Benz says AFL-CIO received $72 million in government grants in a single year, and they're organizing the No Kings mass street protests to shut down the country this weekend. Earth to White House shut down the riot money. MJ Truth Ultra says, damn, Anna Paulina Luna destroyed Governor Tim Walz. All right, we can watch this. Tim Walz. Let his city burn, because that was the Democrat agenda. Never let them forget, never forgive them.
That you're tracking actually had an internal memo that was released that stated that the government of China considered you a prime target for influence operations. I'm letting you know that now because I do believe that you should be made aware of, if you are not already, that you are working with and going to be speaking at an organization and rally that not is just funded by Christy Walton, the heiress of Walmart, but also has ties to the Chinese Progressive Association, largely funding it, that actually brags on their website that they are pro-Maoist. Also, too, funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. I know there's a lot of people on this committee that don't like billionaires interfering in politics, but say nothing when George Soros gets over $260 million from USAID through the last administration that's then funneled into some of these nonprofits and organizations. So I guess my question for you guys is, now that I've made you aware that these riots are not about illegals and they're not about immigrants, if they did, they would have been protesting under Barack Obama, who's also dubbed the deporter-in-chief. And frankly, I think many of you would say that Barack Obama was a good president. Are you going to say that Barack Obama wasn't a good president? Yes or no, Governor Walz? Do you think he was a good president?
Do I think Barack Obama was a good president? I think he did a good job.
Okay, how about you, Governor Pritzker?
I think he did a good job, yes.
Hochul?
Hochul, and yes, he did do a good job.
Okay, next. Perryman?
I think President Obama did a good job.
So then you would understand that Barack Obama had the very same policies, for the most part, on immigration that Republicans are parroting today, and yet you guys are sitting here saying that we're Gestapo. And what I would tell you is that what happens with open borders is that the real people that are coming here, the ones that are exploited, actually it hurts people on both sides, not just Americans, but the illegals. Some of you had said here to the actual committee that you are doing what you can to assist these people, but what I would say is that your policies aren't actually done from a place of understanding and sympathy. I would say that it's actually doing the exact opposite. And when you use brown people, just like they use black people with BLM and Marxists during BLM to usher that in, when you use brown people and you put Mexican flags with them saying that you stand up for illegal immigrants, but you follow the money and it's going back to the Communist Party, what you're essentially doing is using your platform as elected officials, the trust that the American people have put in you, essentially to usher in communism. You're not actually fighting for American values. Don't roll your eyes, because it's a serious topic and that's where the money's coming from. So now I'm informing you, so now you guys can make your decisions, but please be informed, sir, Mr. Walz, that if you truly do uphold the American ideologies and perspectives on the Constitution, you should not be speaking at that rally. I've given you the correct information, and as of right now, I've authorized a letter to be sent to my office to the President of the United States to rescind millions of dollars in funding that we know are going to the No Kings protests that were authorized and basically given under the last administration. That is what Congress is supposed to do, not point fingers, not blame people, but actually ensure that the American people are protected and not fighting for foreign interests, foreign governments, and also the communist.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question?
Whew, she moved fast. That's how I feel like I have to be for open mic night for comedy. It is hard to stick to 4 minutes, man. It is hard to tell a story with multiple data points in 4 minutes. David says there seems to be a lot of things that need to be done immediately. Yes. Kenneth said, yeah, Cory Booker could be on Saturday Night Live. Bella says, Kenneth, he's in a play now. He's role-playing. Cory Booker. Kenneth, he's low on scalp wax. David, they're such babies. Bella saying, I have such respect for Data Republican. Yeah. Data Republican's been great. Anna Paulina Luna's been really good too. So yeah, that was Stephen A. Smith bashing Democratic Senator Alex Padilla. Liz Churchill points out this. Look at all these people. George Soros buys communists with your tax dollars so they can destroy your livelihood, burn America to the ground, and arrest you for asking why. Are you paying attention, people? Kamala, Obama, Chucky Six-Way Schumer, Pelosi, Jasmine, Shifty Schiff. Nick Sorter says, I confronted Democrat Representative Jamie Raskin over his support for illegals, and he melted down. Let's take a look.
Get
yes
out
or
of my
no?
face, you little fascist! Get out of my face!
Hey, Congressman, quick question for you. So you originally...
are you?
Hi, my name is Nick.
Nick,
nice
from
to
where?
meet you.
Which
I'm from
media
X.
entity?
I'm from X. So I have to ask you,
Wait,
you said
you
Kilmar
have to get-
Abrego
excuse me.
Garcia.
You're gonna- excuse
you
me.
voiced a lot of support for him originally. Now he's been charged with facilitating the
to your
transport
job. Go back to your
of
job.
illegals. Are you
Really?
still going to double down on that?
So he gets due process now? Do you
He
believe
gets
in
due
do you believe in
process
due process?
now?
You
I don't think he...
believe-
Wait,
Oh,
was
I
he
thought you
supposed
were
to even be here to
American.
begin with? Was he illegal? Was he
Americans
illegal?
believe in
How
due
did,
process.
how did Kilmar Abrego
Trump's
Garcia
judge
get here?
allowed him to be here.
How,
did you know that?
How did he get here
Watch
originally?
out,
Did
you
he
can
come
hurt
here
yourself.
legally?
Your girlfriend's
Did he come here
calling.
legally?
Get back to your job,
Okay,
man.
so you can't answer the question.
Yeah, no.
You seem a little angry about it. Is that why? Is it because you were made to be a fool out over it? I mean, you were supporting a man whose wife accused him of beating her.
Trump's
You've gotta
judge
be
allowed him to
kidding
be
me.
in the country. Did you know that?
He's not.
Trump's judge allowed him to be in the country.
He was allowed in the
No,
country, and then what?
no,
And then
but
what
check
happened?
it out.
And then what happened? Then he was deported back to his home country. You keep calling him the Maryland father, who apparently beats his wife, which she said on the record that he beats her.
Go back to your QAnon meeting.
Is
Go back
it
to
okay
QAnon
with you?
meeting.
Is it okay with you
QAnon's calling you.
to
Go
see
back to
illegals
QAnon.
smuggling other illegals through the country? Is
Go
that what
back
the
to
people
Q-
of Maryland
Go back
want?
to QAnon.
The people of Maryland, you think they want?
Go back to QAnon? The fuck is this Raskin talking about? They're defending a human trafficker, lady beater.
Illegal gangbangers.
Go back to the people
bringing
of Mars, man. Go back to wherever you.
Go back to Mars? Is this guy mentally ill?
You think you're from, all right?
Okay, so human
Just get out
smuggling,
of
yes
my
or no?
face.
Human smuggling,
Get out
yes
of
or
my
no?
face, you little fascist. Get out of my face.
Little
I'm not.
fascist,
Yes,
okay.
you are.
All right, well, okay.
You little fascist. No, I'd say what's fascistic is flooding America with criminal illegal aliens.
We'll let's
Get
go
out of
to
my face, you
Padilla
little
then.
fascist.
Okay, what about Padilla? Are you
Get
saying
out
what
of
he
my
did
face,
earlier
you
was
little
okay?
fascist.
Going in and interrupting a press conference? Was he a fascist too? Huh?
Yeah, you
Come
know
on,
all
man.
the
I mean,
fascists. Is
I
he in your
understand
group?
why you're
Is
so
he in your
angry
group?
about this because you look like a
I'm angry
freaking
'cause you-
fool now. You
Get-
look ridiculous.
Get the hell out
You
of my
look
face.
ridiculous. I'm not in your face, bro.
You little fascist.
You got your little minions pushing me back. So come on.
There's something wrong with you,
I mean,
man.
these aren't very difficult
QAnon
questions.
is calling
Do
you. Get back
you
to QAnon.
condemn the
Get back to this guy is a nutter.
transport of illegals throughout the country? Do you condemn that? Do you think that people
Get
should be
back to
smuggling
QAnon.
other
Get
illegals
back,
through
you
the
little
country?
fascist, to your
Okay, so you
QAnon
have no
chapter.
answer to that. It seems like a pretty.
Get back. No,
this is
I
a
believe in the
90-10
Constitution of the
issue,
United States.
Congressman.
Do you believe in due process or no?
Do you get
Do
due
you
process?
believe in due
Wait,
process
so
or
you
not?
come in,
No, answer me one question.
Okay,
you
what was the
little
process
fascist.
that he used to get
Do
into the
you
United
believe
States?
What was the process that he used to get into the United States?
Due
Was
process.
it illegal?
You
Did
little
he come
fascist.
into the country legally?
One yes or no question. Do you believe in due process or not? Yes
Absolutely.
Or no?
Do
All
you?
right, good.
Now,
get
do
out
you
of my
believe
face.
that? All right, so you're not going to answer my questions. I
already
answered yours.
50, you stupid
You
little
didn't answer a
fascist
single.
These people with their talking points, he just keeps using, you're fascist, you're fascist. You're mentally ill. You're mentally challenged if you can't have a conversation, if you can't answer some questions.
One, are you taking back your support for Kilmar Abrego Garcia?
Trump's judge kept him in the country.
Okay, so
And
you're
not gonna
okay.
cover-
So you're not.
gonna
I'm going to
print
post the whole
that.
thing
No,
unedited.
you're not-
Watch,
no,
watch.
you're
You'll
not
see. Trust me, you'll see. Okay, so I'll give you
Don't
one
do
more
that,
chance. Do you take back your support for an illegal alien who was in
I
the
never
country?
supported an illegal alien. What are you talking
No,
about? What's the
calling
quote?
him the
What's your
calling him the
quote?
Maryland
What's
man,
the
calling him
quote?
calling him a
What's the-
constituent.
Calling him a Maryland man. He's not a Maryland man. He's an illegal alien invader.
Are you serious?
He's not my constituent.
Of course
What are you
he's not,
talking
because
about?
he's illegal.
You're a moron, okay? As well as a fascist. Go back.
A fascist. They're so stupid. When they use these phrases, you know that they're cooked.
Fascist. See, these
You're a
talking
moron
points
and a
work.
fascist.
There's a
That's
reason
quite
the
a
Democrat
combination.
parties.
Polling at 19%.
There's a reason that your approval rating is in the single digits
Your
at this
approval
point.
rating is -3 points.
Oh,
man. Go
you
get
got
a
me.
There's a Simpsons. It's like -1 million. It's this Raskin is such a clown.
Well, there's a reason the Democrat
combination.
parties. There's a reason that your approval rating is in the single digits
Your
at this
approval
point.
rating is -3 points.
Oh,
man. Go
you
get
got
a
me,
job,
bro.
okay?
You got me.
Go get
You got me. You got me, bro.
Got me.
Yeah, I did
You
get
got
you.
me.
I
Okay.
did get you, yeah.
Okay. So,
Goodbye. Go
so
have
are
a
you
great
are
weekend.
you okay with the deportation? Do you think Marylanders want illegals coming into their state? Violent criminal gangbangers?
You're seriously a moron. You know that,
Okay,
right?
you can't answer. That's a pretty
seriously a
easy
moron.
question. That's a layup
No,
question,
Donald
Congressman.
Trump's judge kept him in our state. Go look it
Okay,
up,
is
brother.
he the only
Go
illegal
look
in
it up.
Maryland? Is he the only criminal illegal in Maryland? Okay, so you're saying...
Well, I don't know. Is Elon Musk?
So-
No,
so-
Elon
so
Musk
you're
said
saying
Donald Trump
that
should be
everybody else...
What's he saying about Elon Musk? He's just like spewing out like totally random talking points that don't even make sense. You're a fascist because you're asking me questions about your defense of Maryland dad, the human trafficker, wife abuser. Oh, you're a fascist. Blame Elon. Elon. What about Elon? What are you talking about?
Is he the only illegal in Maryland? Is he the only criminal illegal in Maryland? Okay, so you're saying...
Well, I don't know. Is Elon Musk?
So-
No,
so-
Elon
so
Musk
you're
said
saying
Donald Trump
that
should be
everybody else-
Do you think
Are you-
Elon Musk
so-
should have been deported?
So all
Because
the...
he wasn't illegal alien.
No, he wasn't.
Wait, yes, he was.
Also,
I love. Look at this. Look at this. That's the perfect time to pause this about Jamie Raskin. This sums up.
all these
Oh,
other,
he wasn't?
all these other
Tell me why he
illegals in
wasn't.
Maryland. All these other
you
criminal
don't agree
illegals
with
in Maryland.
Steve
Are you
Bannon?
okay? Okay, let's
You
make
don't
it easy.
agree with Steve
Let's do an
Bannon now.
easy one.
You wanna-
Do you support deporting criminal illegals at least?
What are you talking about?
Are you going to stick the police after me because I'm asking you a question? You've got to be kidding me.
What
Don't try that.
There's something really wrong with you, man. You're sick
seriously.
in that.
No, just asking him. Just doing the American people want to know. Do you support
Oh, you speak for the American
removing...
people. Have you ever been elected to
Do
public
you-
office?
do
What
you-
office were you elected to?
Do
speak for the
you
American people.
support...
What office
do
were you elected
su-
to?
I'm not the one here to
You
answer,
said
answer
you
the
said
question.
you speak for the American
I
people.
do. I speak to over 1 million people.
Oh, wow.
All right, so
What a
yeah,
big
bro.
man.
Okay,
What a
so
big man.
so do you support removing criminal illegals from the country? Let's say that. It's an
Like
easy
Elon
one.
Musk.
Right.
Yes, I do. Do you support?
He's calling Elon Musk a criminal, illegal alien. How could anybody elect this dude? I don't think he was actually elected by anybody. If they were able to push him across the finish line, I would like a recount.
Okay, all right. So the answer is a no, right?
What's yours? No.
What a weird interaction. Laura Logan is exposing here that the LA civil unrest is the execution of a global playbook where trained operatives use tactics like moving like water to outmaneuver police, conceal identities, and escalate protests into full-blown riots. Coordinated actions, not spontaneous, she explains. Check out the video. She used some of my J6 footage in some of her projects, which is pretty cool. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I don't know anyone that even thinks about Iran. Americans don't want to bomb Iran because the secular government of Israel says that Iran is on the verge of developing a nuclear bomb any day now. We've been told that for the last 20 years, the same story. Everyone I know is tired of U.S. intervention and regime change in foreign countries. Everyone I know is disgusted with Democrats for supporting a literal war against America by foreign nationals and communist anarchists waving Mexican flags while they violently riot, burn, and attack police in American cities. Everyone I know wants us to fix our own problems here at home, not bomb other countries that have nothing to do with our own self-inflicted problems. Wow. Did you hear that one? Marjorie Taylor Greene? Do you agree or disagree with her? I'm going to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Tell me anyone that wants U.S. to be involved with a bombing campaign in Iran. Find me one person. Tim Pool, they keep saying no one is above the law, but notice how when Democrats break the law, it's the cops who should be punished in their view. Effing fascists, says Tim. This is Senator Alex Padilla. He's a good man and a principled public servant. The brazen and aggressive manhandling of Senator Padilla by the Trump administration is a sickening disgrace. Yeah, play the video. Where's the video? Padilla stormed a federal event and got treated like any out-of-control protester would. Actions have consequences, even for Democrats playing martyr. They are addicted to playing martyr. Luke Radowski says, false flag coming next that will fully make the U.S. involved. Probably. I mean, everyone seems to assume it's going to happen.
Careful who you are around in terms of large events, Jewish events. I mean, this sounds like we've gone backwards decades in terms of the threat on Jewish lives. But that's exactly what this is also about.
Oh, boy.
Harris, I actually think it's just the converse of that. I do agree this could be a very high tension, stressful, and indeed there may be an event somewhere in the world. It's not just the missiles or drones they'll fly to Israel, but the Iranian IRGC, the very leadership the Israelis destroyed last night, has been working in nearly every country around the world, including the United States of America, to plant little terror cells all across the world. Hezbollah was doing the same. So this will be a very difficult period. But in the end, this was not a reckless attack, but indeed what they did was decent and just and righteous, and will reduce risk to the Jewish diaspora around the world. And for Israel and for the United States of America, a really good set of outcomes are in the offing, so long as Israel is prepared to finish the task, and as long as the world unites to provide continued deterrence and defense to prevent Iran from conducting all kinds of attacks. I think of cyber threats that will probably be projected around the world too. Iranians have a great cyber program. So lots of vectors for them to respond. We all need to be alert and responsive and do everything we can to deter them from coming after any American anywhere in any field.
Yeah, okay. Angry clowns make us sad. That's where we played the Cory Booker clip because he's so weird. Elon saying there's potentially serious concerns about the long-term safety of the space station. Some parts are getting too old, and obviously that risk grows over time. Even though he makes billions of dollars transporting astronauts and cargo, he nonetheless wants to go on record recommending that it be deorbited within 2 years. Casey says the structural integrity is far more marginal than is being publicly disclosed. Multiple and increasingly frequent leaks from heavily fatigued node segments in the Russian section. When aluminum gets flexed, it fatigues and gets harder, which increases. Anyway, maybe the International Space Station needs to come back down. Alexander Vindman went nuts on Kristi Noem. F off, you fascist B. Homeland Security says Senator Padilla chose disrespectful political theater, interrupting a live press conference without identifying himself or having Senate security pin on as he lunged toward security. Why haven't we gone after Vindman yet? Vindman's eyeballs deep in this stuff. Ford Fisher with news to share says, you're filming some protests and you have a camera with a 20x optical zoom, video to come. He's got a sniper looking right at him, it looks like. Yikes. We experienced this at the Bundy Ranch outside of Las Vegas several years ago. They were telling us where all the snipers were, and we didn't zoom in and see them, but all the people there were explaining where they saw the snipers. It was a very jarring situation. All right, so President Trump getting ready for the 250th birthday party of the Navy. You had wrestlers Cody Rhodes, Tiffany Stratton, and the Street Profits at a Trump rally at Fort Bragg. The president doing the Trump dance at Fort Bragg. The world will never see this. Once in 10 lifetimes. Ask the TDS people because they're out of their minds. The Dudabides. Kathy Hochul said quietly, New York is not a sanctuary state for criminals, in response to images of the woman who was burned alive in a New York City subway by an illegal alien. That is exactly what is, because of her and every Democrat like her. Rand Paul chiming in, the American people overwhelmingly oppose our endless wars, and they voted that way when they voted for Donald Trump in 2024. I urge President Trump to stay the course, keep putting America first, and not join in any war between other countries. Every American should hope and pray for peace. This one here, you know how they renamed it? The Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. Well, this is now the Gulf of I'm not effing dying for Israel. Please vote in our X poll. Agree or disagree that America should stay out of the Israel-Iran war. So far, 5 votes in, 100% they will agree with that. Here's some news to share. Footage of the riots in Los Angeles. He's headed back to D.C. today for the big birthday party tomorrow I'm sure we'll post some more of his work. Democrat senator assaults officers in violent insurrection. That's the way to say that. Rand Paul says China filed a COVID vaccine patent with military neuroscientists before the pandemic was declared. How'd they know the virus caused brain damage? Because they made it. Rand Paul has spent years exposing the COVID cover-up, and this is, without a doubt, a smoking gun from Just the News. Take a look at that one. Lockheed Martin Human Resources Director Lawanda Moorer demanded that managers remove white people from the year-end bonus list and replace them with lower-performing minorities, and she's deleted her LinkedIn account. Christopher Rufo reporting this. That is a wild accusation. If true, what a demonic piece of crap. Racist garbage. Charlie Kirk says, it's time to end all federal contracts with Lockheed. They're in direct violation of federal law. 18 white employees earned a performance bonus, but had it taken away from them and given to 18 non-whites for no other reason than the color of their skin. Shame on Lockheed Martin. A company that does that should go bankrupt. Absolutely, I agree. Clay Travis says, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who just allowed a boy to win a girls' state title, was supposed to win male voters for Kamala. He's asked by Nancy Mace, what is a woman? Here's Tim Walz trying to get male votes in Minnesota, across the nation.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
He doesn't understand what a woman is. Wall Street Apes reporting the real reason behind the LA riots. A fashion tax evasion investigation raid was happening. That's why ICE was in LA. Over $97 million in money laundering from Mexico into California. Democrats fueled the riots the same day, according to this post. The ICE operations in the fashion district, specifically targeting Ambience Apparel, was part of a criminal investigation into money laundering, tax evasion, and customs fraud. According to reports, the investigation involved a company that underdeclared over $80 million in goods and failed to pay $17 million in fees, with some of the money allegedly being laundered to fund cartel activity in Mexico. The ICE raids began around June 6, 2025, sparking significant protests and riots in downtown LA, particularly in the fashion district and outside federal buildings. The unrest was fueled by the perception that the raids were immigration sweeps, though officials clarified they were targeting criminal activities like tax evasion and money laundering. How many California Democrats were involved in this scam to rally the whole city to riot and have their media blasted on every channel? I still want to know if 2 hours on. A little punk. Yeah, I'm a that tackle is ever. That is America fighting back against this piece of crap. I could watch hours on end, but I'll keep scrolling. Oh, here's the ad that the White House just put out. Oh, let's see if they're going to have music that YouTube will.
A fourth day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
Here we are expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
Perfect messaging. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. Muse reporting that if you're an insurgent funding, coordinating, supplying, or engaging in attacks on law enforcement, federal property, or federal officers, you're being monitored from 10,000 to 50,000 feet by a Reaper drone equipped with the Gorgon Stare. It can monitor a 50-mile radius around LA and has a 2mm resolution, allowing for facial recognition and license plate reading. The administration is determined to find those responsible for the insurgency. No one is above the law. Todd Starn says, what sort of sorry excuse for a man is Alex Padilla? A big man trying to physically assault a woman? He's just lucky security intervened. There's no doubt Secretary Kristi Noem would have been able to take down that beta male in 3 seconds, throw his leftist butt in jail. Here's Andy No showing the video. California Democrat Senator Alex Padilla tried to violently rush at and shut down a press conference with Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem before being stopped by Secret Service security. He resisted the security and tried to rush the stage again. Watch this.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
You keep saying hands off. You're not in charge here, pal.
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
That's beautiful to watch.
There's no recording loud out here.
Who thought it'd be a good idea to rush the building Department of Homeland Security?
So what? I'm sorry. There's no recording loud out here. That's my boss. I have to. There's no recording loud out here. You can record. There's no recording loud out here. I'm not a member. There's no recording loud. I understand that's your foot.
Adios, Alex. Here's videos about the strikes that started in Iran. Oh, hey, listen to Florida. You know, look, let me tell you this too, because I keep wanting to mention what's going on with the Autopen. I just keep running out of time because I gotta wrap it up. I'll wrap it up on this story, but the gist of the Autopen story with Joe Biden is that they have several people, I believe it's 4 people set to testify in front of Congress about the Autopen scandal. 4 times higher the amount of the Obama pardons. Biden didn't sign them. Biden is the president. He would have to sign them. He didn't. Other people were allegedly selling their influence to pardon people. This is going to be very bad, but it might be very good if we can remove the pardon for Fauci and indict him. All right, here's in Florida. There's anti-riot policies in place. Florida leads the way.
So I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
Ooh, it's about time you say the obvious.
Point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs. You're seeing ICE agents that are being targeted for doing their jobs. And you're seeing obstructionists that are doing all of this, standing in the way of law and order.
Florida leads the way. All right. Can I show you Mr. Bean? Let's see if I can. No, you don't need to move. Look at this guy. Can I show you his face? You cute little face. This is what he does. He's such a cuddler. He's very much a cuddler. But then if you pet him, sometimes he'll like get up and move around. He's like, "Oh, I'm being petted. Oh, you did a really good job." He just stayed like there. But like he just lays his whole head and his whole neck on your arm. Living it up. Living his best life. There he is, Mr. Bean, everybody. And there I am. I'm going to sign out for now. It's going to be a super busy day. I may not be able to do a broadcast tomorrow. I might be able to. I might be able to. I should be able to. But look, let me just say it this way. There's a chance I might not be able to. So I got to take one cat to the vet, and then I got something else going on. And then so like there might be a window there at like 10 o'clock, 10 to 11 maybe. It'll have to be abbreviated, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It'll be early and it'll be kind of to the point, getting you up to speed on the news that develops between now and then. So we'll be back. Thank you all for watching. Once again, these are the places scrolling at the bottom of the screen where you can follow the New American Media. These are the donation links over here. Patreon, the New American Media, Venmo, Cash App, Brian Engelman, PayPal, Fuzz Installment. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Guys, I always appreciate it. Unholy Hoax, David, Kenneth, Bella. Who else is in here today? Well, to everybody else in here, thank you so much. Always appreciated. Oh, we had AMR. I didn't hear a lot from AMR. Oh, good to hear from Lucas as well. Yeah, all of you guys. Really great having you. And we'll be back again real soon. Thank you, David. Thank you, Bella. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, everybody. And we'll be back soon. Go have a great afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you too, Mr. Bean. Can I get a nose kiss? Nose kiss? Yeah, Nimbus does the nose kiss. Ben is like, it ain't my thing. I'd rather have you pet me, he says. I'd rather have you rub my ear, which I do. Then he leans into it. And that's our game. All right. I'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. I'll be back tomorrow probably. All right. You get the point. Have a great day, everyone. You too, Bean. Bye. Oh, Ben. Mr. Bean.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.